Hi friends, this is Need to Know It. I'm your host Emma, and today we are going to be talking about the fact that Walt Disney World has so much to do, but what should you prioritize? That's why we are here today. We are going to be running around the Walt Disney World Resort to show you everything that you need to know about before your next trip to see the mouse. So we are going to be headed to all 4 theme parks today, but of course we have to start where all of the magic happens, the OG Magic Kingdom. So what is Magic Kingdom? Well, when you think of Disney World, this is probably the place you're thinking of. This is where you can find the castle, Tomorrowland, Adventureland, Fantasyland. All of that good Disney classic magic is where you're going to find Magic Kingdom stuff. So this is going to be a lot of fun, the perfect place to start. Let's get to it. Now, Magic Kingdom is the most magical place on earth for sure, but it can also be the most crowded. So let's talk about those priorities, and we are actually going to start with rides. Okay friends, to start off our exciting rides, we are here in Tomorrowland to check out Tron. So Tron Light Cycle Run here in Magic Kingdom is actually the newest ride in Magic Kingdom, and it is a really exciting roller coaster that launches you and shoots you onto the grid into the world of Tron. Now this one has been a little bit controversial, I won't lie to you. Took a while to build and it's a little bit on the shorter side, but you cannot deny that it is super exciting and easily the biggest coaster in this park. So we're starting with some excitement and we're starting with something new. Now, I think Tron is one of those things that you need to know about because it is so new, it is so exciting. It has a lot of new technology, the launch is really cool, and once you understand that it's a little bit on the shorter side, it is so much fun. I actually really love it, and the more and more I ride it, the more excited I am for it. Now, you do need to know you cannot get in a normal line for this one. No, you're gonna have to use a virtual queue or an individual lightning lane, which you can grab through the My Disney Experience app, which we're gonna talk about in just a little bit, but you're gonna need to pre-plan if you want to ride Tron. You cannot hop on it just randomly, decide a day of without one of those 2 things. You can either purchase that individual lightning lane or hop into the virtual queue at 7 a.m. or 1 p.m. on the My Disney Experience app. You cannot talk about iconic Disney World rides without talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, and you kind of need to know about this one. Now, if you don't know what it is, Pirates of the Caribbean is essentially a slow-moving boat ride that takes you back to the time of the pirates, and you're gonna see some pretty famous characters like Jack Sparrow, Barbossa, and even the dog who's holding a key. And if you don't know what I mean, you need to know about him, you'll learn about him. That one is one of my favorites. I absolutely love this ride, and frankly, I think everybody needs to know about it. It's calm, it's relaxing, it's in the dark, so it's pretty chill. And it is, again, one of those iconic Disney rides, and it's a Quincy favorite, so I'm gonna add it to the list and I'm gonna keep it there. Also, the smell of the water is kind of iconic, and I didn't used to feel like attached to the smell, and then even today I was like, the smell, so good. So you need to experience it at least once in your life. Okay, so now this one is not formally on our things you need to know about list just yet because, well, it's not open. Right behind me here is Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is replacing Splash Mountain. Same ride, new theme, and we are all so excited here on Team All Ears. We cannot wait for this one. Now, you don't need to know about it yet, it's not quite open, but sometime this year, 2024, we are expected to see this girl open. We are so excited, and when it does, you're gonna need to know about it. So make sure you're following the allears.net blog, where we have all of the fastest news and updates. You can find it right there. We can't wait. You'll need to know about it then, but just not yet. Now this is the Haunted Mansion. You're gonna go inside the Haunted Mansion and it's a slow moving dark ride where you might see some creepy crawlies, some ghosts and ghouls, but it's all in good fun and not truly scary. I think it's very fun. I don't think it's super spooky. I think you need to know about it because it is a Disney classic, and also it's just got one of those like songs that scratches your brain. It's kind of a classic in the sense that everyone knows the monologue. It's just a lot of fun. That being said, there are going to be some kiddos that are a little bit scared, especially if they're younger, or if you're just somebody who's scared of the dark and not really interested in stuff like this. Our friend RJ does not like the Haunted Mansion, so maybe it's not for everyone, but it's not as scary as you might think. Okay, you guys see this like really crowded alley behind me? Well, you're gonna need to know about it because behind the crowd is the ride It's a Small World. If you've never heard of this one, this is the arguably most famous Disney ride, except for maybe Dumbo, which we'll get to in a little bit. It's a Small World is a slow-moving boat ride that takes you through different scenes that teach you it really is a small world after all, and we're not so different. This one was another one that was conceptualized by Walt Disney himself. Now, it's a small world. I think you need to know about it because it's one of those, you can't say you've been to Disney World and you've not done It's a Small World at least once. The song's gonna get stuck in your head and you're gonna walk off thinking, okay, I did it, or you're gonna walk off thinking, I really loved that. Like, you're not gonna be mad that you did it at least once. It's super cute, and if that's not really your speed, you can check out Peter Pan's Flight, which is right here across the street, although the wait times are gonna be undoubtedly higher, but they're still cute. I would not prioritize both. I'd say one or the other, but Small World is the one I'm gonna recommend that you need to know about today. Space Mountain is an indoor, high-flying roller coaster adventure that takes you in the dark through space. Yes, it is literally in the dark. It's pitch black. It is so much fun, and frankly, one of my favorite rides in all of Disney. You kind of sit in a bobsled type roller coaster seat. It's frankly so much fun, but it might not be for everyone. It is a little bit shaky. You kind of need to know about the fact that it is really dark and can kind of be scary for kiddos. It's a lot faster than you're expecting. Because you're in the dark, you feel like you're really scooting, and as much as I love it, you need to know it's probably not for everybody. So double check the warnings, just be aware, but I think if you want to do it and you're interested in coasters, you need to know about this one. Now, we cannot talk about iconic rides without talking about the Jungle Cruise here in Adventureland. Now, the Jungle Cruise is actually one that Walt Disney conceptualized himself for Disneyland, and luckily it did make its way over here to Magic Kingdom. Now, in the Jungle Cruise, you are going to jungles throughout the world. You're gonna see some funny jokes, you're gonna see some animals, and you're gonna have a really great time. And you might even see the 8th wonder of the world. Now, this is one that I absolutely love. It's silly, it's fun, and it can kind of be different depending on who your Jungle Cruise skipper is. I think you absolutely need to know about this one. I think it needs to be on that must-do list, and frankly, I also think it should be one of your first Genie Plus selections of the day because it does have a lower capacity, so the wait times can get pretty high, but we'll talk about Genie in just a little while. Now, for our last ride, Dumbo, and frankly, I think Dumbo and Small World are kind of in that same vein of Disney classics. So if you're not entirely sure, Dumbo is the famous flying elephant from the classic Disney film Dumbo. You get to sit on his back and take a high-flying adventure with you and your kiddos, or just you and yourself. These are, I think, the same, like I said, as Small World, where it is just a Disney classic. You can find this one over in Disneyland, and they actually recently renovated it a few years ago to expand it, so now it takes double the amount of people and you can get through it a lot more quickly. Dumbo is one of those Disney classics that I remember riding as a kid with my family. It is a huge core memory to me, and I think everybody should experience this at least once in their life. It's not going to be a fan favorite per se in the sense that every single adult is going to have to ride it on every single trip if you're returning, but if you're only coming to Magic Kingdom once in your life, you have to fly with Dumbo. It's a must. And also, if you have little kiddos, when they did that renovation, I think around 2012, they actually added a secret indoor play area where you can go inside, and while you're waiting, your kids can run around and play on a playground to kind of help get out some of that energy as well, which I think is a huge plus if you're a parent. So I won't lie to you guys, kind of narrowing down the rides here in Magic Kingdom, I think this was the hardest part to choose those things that you need to know about because there are so many incredible classics. If I didn't mention something that you think should be on here, let me know. There's so many, it's so hard to choose from, but I think we had a good combo of relaxing, nostalgic, iconic, and exciting rides. So now that we've talked rides, we have to talk about the second most important thing in Disney, and I think that's the food. Now, if you're going to talk about Disney food, we are going to talk about one of the favorites, the classics, and we've come up here to Main Street to talk about Casey's Corner. Now, Casey's Corner is really a hot dog stand, but if you have picky eaters or non-picky eaters, this is going to be one of the best quick services for you to grab something the whole family can enjoy. I did go ahead and mobile order on my Disney experience, and of course, I'm getting the classic today, some corn dog nuggets. Okay, so this is them. These are the famous Casey's corn dog nuggets. And of course I had to get a side of plastic cheese for only $1. I was never a plastic cheese person until I started working here, but it truly elevates them. They're so good, they're classic, and frankly, they're really comforting. It's like when you're a kid and you have corn dogs at school or corn dog nuggets at school, but these are just better, they're crispier, they're so comforting, I'd say. And I think they're a Disney classic for a reason because almost anyone can enjoy them. Now, of course, we have to try them because we're here together and we're on the hub grass, which I highly recommend you eating your stuff on the hub grass and just enjoying all of the perks and the views of the castle. Next up, we've made our way down to the other end of Main Street to talk about the Main Street Confectionary, which is more than just one snack. It's a location and it's super famous and you need to at least walk inside. So the Main Street Confectionary is where you're going to find a lot of those deliciously sweet Disney World snacks. So things like Rice Krispie treats, popcorn, and the famous Mickey candy apples, or Minnie, whichever one you decide to grab. This is absolutely a great one-stop shop if you are here in Disney World and you're looking for some treats. We have favorites in here, of course, but frankly, with anything in the case in particular, you cannot go wrong. They're made fresh and they also are pre-packaged if you want them, so that way you can take them home and they make a wonderful kind of gift for people. Personally, for my family, we always find ourselves getting 2 or 3 candy apples to take home for the folks who didn't get to come with us on this trip because they normally keep for several days. They're really, really tasty and they're a lot easier to grab than say like something that you think they might throw away or like a t-shirt that they might not want. This is something that almost everybody can enjoy, and if you ask the cast members, they'll tell you what days things go bad, so that way you know before you buy it if your family will be able to enjoy it by the time you get home. Now you can get candy apples in every single Disney park and over at Disney Springs, but there's just something about buying stuff on Main Street that makes it feel a little bit more Disney, a little bit more magical, a little bit more Magic Kingdom-y, if you will. Now you cannot talk about iconic Disney World snacks without talking about some Dole Whip, so we made our way over to Adventureland. So you actually now can find Dole Whip in multiple places throughout Walt Disney World, but there's nowhere more famous than right here at Aloha Isle Refreshments. This is where you're gonna find classic Dole Whip, and if you don't know what that is, it's essentially pineapple ice cream, but it is vegan and dairy free. Now, for some people, you're probably like, no, that doesn't sound exciting, but you wouldn't even know. It is so incredible. It's so tart and sweet, and frankly, it's a must-have. But if you're curious, I always recommend the pineapple upside down cake. Now, Dole Whip is one of those that you are either gonna love it or you hate it, and I won't even lie to you, this was not one of my must-tries for a long time. You can get it in several different flavors, but if you want the classic, if you really wanna know what's up, you have to try that pineapple at least once in your lifetime, and you kind of do need to know about it. Now, Magic Kingdom does have some iconic snacks, but let's talk about the best places to find a table service restaurant. And our number one is going to be Skipper Canteen right here in Adventureland. So Skipper Canteen is based off of the world famous Jungle Cruise. It is a sit-down restaurant here in Magic Kingdom, and it is one of our personal favorites in all of Disney World, but especially in Magic Kingdom. Now you're gonna find some flavorful cuisine, Asian, South American, and African inspired over here, and we absolutely, of course, have done a review up on the channel. It's one of the easier reservations to grab, and frankly, we think it's one of the better quality ones here in Magic Kingdom, especially for that price. So if you're curious, go check out our full review on the channel right now. But we don't just have food to talk about, of course. No, let's hop into some entertainment. We've made our way back to Main Street to talk about that incredible live entertainment. And we're actually gonna talk about one thing that does not necessarily involve live performers. It's my favorite thing in all the world, and that is the fireworks show at the end of the night, Happily Ever After. So if you've never seen Happily Ever After, it is the nighttime fireworks show that is just absolutely beautiful and incredible. It has songs that play throughout the entire show, of course fireworks, and then projections on the castle. You're gonna hear a lot of your favorite Disney songs. You're gonna hear Almost There from Tiana, lots of Moana. You're gonna see sections all about Pirates of the Caribbean, and maybe even some villains are gonna show up. This one absolutely tugs at the heartstrings. I cry every single time I watch it, and if you are coming to Magic Kingdom for the first time or for the 100th time, I think you have to do it. It's beautiful, it's heartwarming, and frankly, it's one thing you need to know about. Now, there are always going to be questions about where is the best view for Happily Ever After. In my personal opinion, it is in the hub area right behind the Walt and Mickey statue. And when I say behind, I mean the side closest to Main Street, not the side closest to the castle. That way you can see the fireworks and you can see the incredible projections and kind of feel immersed in it. But frankly, Main Street is a wonderful option, and they even have new projections down Main Street, and I actually really love watching on the train station as well. You really can't mess up as long as you can kind of see the castle and you can definitely see the fireworks, you're gonna have a great win. Now also, some people might be wondering like, Emmett, this is not live entertainment, it's a fireworks show. There is one live performer almost every single night, and that's Tinkerbell, because she does fly across the crowd, and frankly, that's the part that seals the deal for me. That all the gasps of the children, I just cry. It's so great. Now I will say though, that is not the only live entertainment that you're gonna see on Main Street, so let's talk about our next thing. Now another thing you're gonna find here on Main Street, but also throughout Frontierland and kind of Liberty Square, is the Festival of Fantasy Parade. Disney is known for their entertainment, they're known for their parades, and this is one of those things that you need to know about if you're gonna have a full-fledged Disney trip. Now, Disney's Festival of Fantasy Parade actually kicks off back in Frontierland, and it's a beautiful festival. You're gonna see a lot of your favorite characters. It starts off really strong with Beauty and the Beast, Belle, the princesses, Mickey and Minnie wrap the whole thing up, but in between you're gonna see some incredible things like the fire-breathing dragon Maleficent, and even Rapunzel and Flynn Rider as they're kind of, you know, swinging. You'll understand. You just gotta see it. Now, I do think you need to know about this one. It's one of those kind of classic Disney activities. You see the parade, and also it's not super long. You hear a lot of the classic songs that you love, see a lot of your favorite characters, and if you have a kiddo who's really interested in characters but you don't want to take up a lot of time kind of waiting to meet them, then this is gonna be a great way to just get a cute kind of interaction. You get to wave, you get to really enjoy yourself. It does technically start at noon and 3, but give it about 15 minutes because it kicks off in Frontierland, and it's gonna take about 12 to 15 minutes to get all the way up here to Main Street. Walt Disney World, actually Magic Kingdom in particular, has a ton of shows that don't necessarily involve live actors, but when it comes to choosing which one you should do, my favorite is absolutely Mickey's Philhar Magic right here behind me in Fantasyland. So Mickey's Philhar Magic is a really cute 3D experience where you get to go in and you're supposed to hear Mickey and the orchestra play, but then Donald kind of takes his hat, his sorcerer's hat. He takes the magic. And unfortunately, because he took it, you actually get thrown into a ton of different Disney stories. Now, I think it is so super cute. You're gonna hear songs from things like Coco, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, and even more. It's wonderful. You can sing along to it, and there's some kind of 4D elements like smells and things that I just think set this apart from anything at Disney World. It is so nostalgic and heartwarming. I watch it almost every single time I get to hang out here, and frankly, I think you need to know about it. Now, you can't talk about coming to Magic Kingdom without talking about all of the characters that you can meet. That is one of the most special parts, the most entertaining part to me, and the most special part for a lot of kiddos is all of those characters. An example behind me right here is Princess Fairy Tale Hall. This is where you can meet 4 princesses. They often rotate, but most of the time you're gonna find Tiana, Rapunzel, Cinderella, and Elena of Avalor, but it can change every single day, so make sure you're checking your My Disney Experience app, but I think that's one of the most special, entertaining parts of all of Disney World. Now, every single park does have different characters. Some characters like Mickey, he hangs out in all of the parks. But when it comes to Magic Kingdom, I think this is one of the most special, especially if you have younger kiddos, because you're gonna find so many classic characters here. Goofy, Donald, Daisy, Mickey, Minnie, Chip and Dale, Peter Pan even. But if you're not coming to Magic Kingdom or those characters don't interest you, don't worry. There are tons of characters spread all throughout Disney World, and I highly recommend meeting at least one. It doesn't matter how old you are. They are a part of your childhood and who you are. And frankly, my great aunt came with me for the first time since the 70s. She had not been here since the 70s this summer, but she had never met Mickey. So what did we have to do? We went and met Mickey, and it was so special for all of us. It really does not matter your age. It just matters that you do something for the child and all of us. And I think that's what Walt really wanted. So meet at least one character just for yourself. Now, we've already talked a little bit about it, but one of the things you're gonna need to know for all of the Disney parks is gonna be called My Disney Experience. So this is the free app that you can download on any phone, or even you can access it through a computer, and it is gonna be your one-stop shop, your golden key to all of Disney World, all of the Disney parks. This is where you're gonna find things like wait times, you're gonna be able to make reservations, you're gonna be able to find your park tickets, you're even gonna be able to find your Disney World photos, you're gonna be able to mobile order your food, and even shop a little bit more easily because you can skip those lines at checkout. This is that one-stop shop. It's free in the app, and it's free to make an account, and we highly, highly recommend having it downloaded and ready, and even we encourage you to familiarize yourself a little bit before you get to Disney World. This is going to be that thing that you really, really need, and Genie Plus is even on here. So if you want to do anything at Disney World and make it a little bit easier on yourself, make sure you're downloading the My Disney Experience app. So that pretty much takes it for the needs to know things here in Magic Kingdom, which we only scratched the surface, but we're just getting started and we're talking about those need to knows. So I'm gonna see you guys over at Hollywood Studios. Bye. Whoa. There you are. Okay, we made it over to Hollywood Studios for our second park that we're gonna talk about. So what is Hollywood Studios? If you've never been here, this is that park that you kind of have that Hollywood vibe. When it first opened, Michael Eisner was the CEO at the time, and he said it is really kind of an accumulation of the Hollywood that you think about, the Hollywood that always was but never will be. So essentially, when you think of Hollywood, you think of glitz and glamour, but the real Hollywood isn't always that way. So Disney made the idealized version of Hollywood. You're stepping straight into the movies, and you're even seeing how some of them are made. So when you're here, you can kind of expect to find a few different things. You can find that Hollywood glitz and glam with some of the most amazing live entertainment and thrill rides, which is perfect because that leads us into our first section, which is the amazing rides here in Hollywood Studios. Now, to start off our talk about incredible rides here in Hollywood Studios, I made my way over to Galaxy's Edge to talk about the ride that is really more of an experience, and that's Rise of the Resistance. So Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is a ride that is, like I already said, really more of an experience here in Hollywood Studios. You step into the story and you actually get arrested, not kidding, by the First Order. You're thrown in a jail cell, but luckily the Rebel Alliance is there to break you out. You're gonna see a lot of your characters from the newer Star Wars movies like Rey and Finn and Poe and Kylo Ren, but oh my goodness, I can't even describe how good this ride is. Now, the reason I love this ride so much is because it is the most incredibly immersive ride that I think you're gonna find in all of Disney World. It is so intense and exciting, and you see those characters, and I think frankly, even if you don't know who they are or you're not a Star Wars fan, you need to know about this one. The technology is amazing. It's a trackless ride system, which means that it's a little bit different every time you hop on, and honestly, I just think you need to experience it once in your life if you have the opportunity to. Galaxy's Edge as a land is really truly incredible. I think it feels like you're truly stepping into Star Wars, and you can see characters like Chewie that just make you feel like you're right at home, but Rise of the Resistance really embodies everything that Galaxy's Edge is trying to do, and luckily, if you're closer to Disneyland, it's also in Disneyland. I think you have to do it. Now, you cannot talk about rides in Hollywood Studios without talking about the Tower of Terror. Now, the Tower of Terror is one of the most famous rides in all of Hollywood Studios, and for good reason. This ride kind of shoots you up and it takes you into the Twilight Zone, but unfortunately, your elevator is a little bit broken. So you're gonna go launch up and down. It's like a drop ride. It's scary, it's spooky, and if you're scared of heights, honestly, be pretty cautious about this one. Now, I think this ride is absolutely pretty scary, to be honest with you. Only recently have I begun to enjoy it, and that's after almost 2 years of riding it roughly once a week. I do love it though. It is so exciting, it's so thrilling, and I think has some of the best theming in all of Disney World, especially when it comes to rides. Why do I think that you need to know this one? This one is a classic, and not only is it a classic, it's a thrilling classic. When people think of Hollywood Studios, this is one of the first things that comes to their mind. Now, it even used to be over in Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. However, they have rethemed it in the last few years to Guardians of the Galaxy, but people will literally travel from California to Orlando just to ride this version of the ride. Now, here we are in Toy Story Land to talk about the most exciting ride here, which is Slinky Dog Dash, and easily one of the most popular rides in the entire park. Slinky Dog Dash is a really fun outdoor family coaster where you get to hop onto Slinky Dog's back and take a ride through Andy's backyard. Now, this one is super exciting, and we've actually had a friend tell us it's more thrilling than Tower of Terror. Now, the reason I think that you need to know about Slinky is because it is a family coaster and it is tons of fun. Now, sometimes people will kind of be like, oh, it's a kiddie ride, about different rides around Disney World, and they aren't as excited because it's considered a kiddie ride if your kiddos can enjoy it just as much. But I think this ride is the perfect combo of kiddie ride and rides that actually is really, really exciting and super thrilling. Now, of course, it does have a 38-inch height requirement, so not all kiddos can enjoy it, but it is a great, great, great first coaster. Very similar to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train over in Magic Kingdom, but this one is so much fun. It is so thrilling, and it's super cool at night. So I think you need to know about this one because it's a perfect blend of family-friendly and still really, really exciting. So Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is a fairly new addition to the park. It opened in 2020, literally like 2 weeks before the parks closed. It's really, really cute. You actually get to go inside the story with Mickey and Minnie. You're with Goofy, he's on a train ride through the park, and unfortunately, because it's Goofy, things get a little crazy. This ride uses tons of new technology, and it is a trackless ride system very similar to Rise of the Resistance, so it's a lot of fun, and depending on how many times you ride it, from the different positions you're going to get different viewpoints. Now this one is so much fun, it's super whimsical, and it's actually the only ride that Mickey himself has in all of Disney World. Now previously this did used to be the Great Movie Ride, so it's a pretty controversial switch. If you're anything like me, you miss Movie Ride every day, but it is a really, really cute replacement, and I think frankly it kind of embodies the new idea of what Hollywood Studios is evolving to be, where you're more a part of the movies rather than watching them be made. I think that that kind of embodies that, and I think you need to know about it because there's not many places you can go into the story with Mickey himself. And finally, when you're talking about rides in Hollywood Studios, it's a crime to not mention the Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. Now, the Rock and Roller Coaster is one of those indoor coasters that this one is super exciting because it takes you upside down. You're hearing different songs played by Aerosmith, and frankly, you're kind of like one of the band. You're in a super stretched limo and you are going to their concert downtown, but it's looking pretty jam-packed, so you have to get there fast. This one is so exciting, and if you're a little bit older and you're tall enough, I do think it's something you need to know about. This was one of the first major thrill rides in Disney World, and it still holds up to this day. It's so exciting, it's in the dark. They recently refurbished it last year, added a little bit of paint, and they're refurbishing it again this year so that way it runs a little bit more smoothly. It is a classic, it's so exciting, and if you're someone looking for a thrill, you absolutely need to know about this one. Now I'm gonna say, just a private note between me and my friends, this isn't formally on the list, but I think you need to know about Muppet Vision. So if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But this is just for me. I'm throwing that in for myself. Know about Muppet Vision. Now to start off our section on food here in Hollywood Studios, we have made our way over to Toy Story Land to talk about Woody's Lunchbox. Woody's Lunchbox is actually a quick service back here in Toy Story Land, and I think one of the best quick services in all of Hollywood Studios. Now we'll talk about a few, we'll mention them, but this is the one I really want to get into. This is where you're going to find grilled sandwiches, grown-up drinks, ice cream floats, desserts, and even some famous box lunch tarts. I really love coming over here, but the most famous thing outside of their box lunch tarts is going to be their tachos. Now, if you've never had tachos, they are essentially kind of like a walking taco in my opinion. There's some Fritos, there's some chili, there's some meat, there's some cheese, and there are tons of what they call potato barrels, but what are basically tater tots. These are so crunchy and delicious and savory and easily shareable, plus they even have a breakfast version of them. But if you're curious about all of that, we actually have done a video where we eat everything in Toy Story Land, and you can go check out every single item on this menu in that video right now. So here in Galaxy's Edge, you're gonna find an incredible quick service called Docking Bay 7, which we actually do highly recommend. But if you're looking for something that's more of a grab and go, or you're even looking for breakfast, you need to check out Ronto Roasters. Now Ronto Roasters is right here at the middle, and it's kind of at the back of the marketplace. It is wonderful, but there's one thing in particular that really stands out if you're gonna eat here. Now that one thing that I'm talking about is actually called a Ronto wrap, and there's kind of two versions of it. The Ronto wrap is essentially a pita. It's got some cold slaw, it's got some sausage, some turkey, and then this incredible sauce over the top. But you can also get a breakfast version, which I actually prefer, which is that same pita, and it has some egg, sausage, cheese. It's on the cheaper side. You also can share it if you're not super, super hungry, and you're not gonna get too full off of it. I cannot recommend these enough. This is actually one of my favorite breakfasts in Hollywood Studios, and I think that you need to know about it because it's versatile, it's space food, and frankly, it's delicious. Also, while we're kind of finishing up here in Galaxy's Edge, I just want you to see my ObiWan Kenobi Valentine's Day shirt. I love you, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor. I love you so much. Now I am an Anakin girl, but I could not resist this. If you like anything that we're wearing, you can almost always find it on @AllYourStyle, which is up on Instagram right now, and you should check it out. And we have lots of advice and cool stuff and outfits, and I really love it. Now you cannot talk about incredible food and drinks around Hollywood Studios without talking about all of the amazing lounges, because that is one major difference between Magic Kingdom and the other three parks is you can get alcohol in the other three, unlike Magic Kingdom. You can kind of get it in Magic Kingdom, but you have to be at a table service. But at the other three, you can just walk right up. So let's talk about one of our favorite walk-up bars, and that is right here at Baseline. So So Baseline Tap House is right here on a commissary lane next to Sci-Fi Dine-In, and it is a wonderful little kind of bar, actually, a tap house, if you will, that's situated right here at the corner where you can find a lot of beers on tap and even some specialty cocktails, as well as a really delicious cider that I always end up getting. You can also find some small plates that I think are really worth the money, and it just has a good, calming, relaxing vibe. If you know anything about the All Ears team, this is one of our favorite spots. I find myself here constantly, and I think you need to know about it because it's a wonderful place to kind of sit down, relax, and get out of the hustle and bustle of the crowds around Disney World. They actually do have some drinks that are non-alcoholic, but honestly, I think the food is just as worth it. Now, they do have like a charcuterie board, they even have a steak puff that they're just good, they're good quality, and they are not going to break the bank. So I think you need to know about this one no matter who you are. But now that we've gotten through all of the lovely rides and all of the lovely food, let's talk about some shows and entertainment. We're gonna start off with one of my favorites, the Frozen Sing-Along Celebration. Now, the full formal name is, for the first time in forever, the Frozen Sing-Along Celebration. Now, in the Frozen Sing-Along Celebration, you actually can step into the world of Arendelle, and you're gonna meet two Arendelle historians, and they are gonna tell you the story that happens that you watch in the first Frozen film. Now, it's really, really funny. Kristoff and Anna might actually show up, kind of help correct a few things that the historians say. It's a sing-along, so of course you're singing to a lot of those Frozen classic favorite songs, and it's actually really, really super funny. Queen Elsa even does arrive towards the end, and she does some magic. It's absolutely incredible. If you even semi-like Frozen, you have got to check it out. I sing my heart out every single time I'm in here, and truly, I think you need to know about it because it's a great place, A, to see one of your favorite movies come to life and be a part of it, but also B, the seats are comfortable. There's AC. You're gonna need that sometimes at Disney World, and this is one of the best places to find that. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is one of the things that I think is really reminiscent of what Hollywood Studios was when it first opened. This is essentially a show that takes you inside the Indiana Jones movies and shows you how the stunts are performed. And they explain in detail. You're a part of the movie, you get to see the director, you get to even help mix the sounds for the movies, the background noises. It's absolutely wonderful. This show is so much fun. It's super exciting. It is in an outdoor theater, and it uses incredible stunts and pyro to kind of tell the story of Indiana Jones. Now, one thing that I really love about this show, and I think the reason you need to know about it is, I think it's a little bit more exciting for those Harrison Ford fans of the world, the ones who want a little action, some stunts. Dads really tend to love this one. It's a lot of fun in that way. But another thing I think you need to know is because it's an outdoor theater, you can actually bring food and drinks in. If you're anything like us and you really want to maximize your day, sometimes you're kind of eating your lunch on the go. This is a great way to kill two birds with one stone, enjoying your lunch, sitting down, and watching a wonderful show that kind of embodies Hollywood Studios. Now, for shows like Indiana and Frozen, and even the next show we're going to talk about, on those busier days, we do kind of recommend getting here anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes early. It can get pretty packed, and the shows do fill up. Now, on slower days, you can probably come in about 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes early, but if you want a seat and you know that the theater is open, go ahead and come chill, sit down, and relax, and just get off your feet for a second. Now, we have talked about some pretty amazing live entertainment in Hollywood Studios, but you cannot talk about Hollywood Studios entertainment without talking about Fantasmic. Fantasmic you're gonna find open here on Sunset. It plays once a night right now, sometimes two during the busier time of the year, but oh my goodness, this is probably, after Happily Ever After, my favorite show in all of Disney World. So Fantasmic is a nighttime spectacular experience where you get to go on a journey into your wildest imagination, starring Mickey Mouse himself. There's live performers, tons of characters. Mickey is a huge part of the show, incredible music, and amazing fireworks. It touches on classic Disney movies, old and new, and you get to see a lot of those characters that you wouldn't even otherwise see in the Disney parks. I absolutely cannot recommend this enough, and you actually get to sit down during this show, which kind of gives it a leg up over Happily Ever After. Now, I have to say, you need to know about this one because I think this show embodies what Hollywood Studios is meant to be. Classic Disney, incredible movies, and bringing it all to life with that Disney touch. So you need to know about it, and if you're missing it, I think that you're missing out on one of the most integral and special parts of Hollywood Studios. Now, one of the last things we're going to talk about here in Hollywood Studios is going to be one of those things that you're going to need in probably every single park, and maybe not in one or two of them, but that is Genie Plus. So if you've heard us talk about Genie Plus, you're probably ready to be like, okay, we get it. But if you've never heard of Genie Plus, essentially that is Disney's skip the line service. So it is now a paid service. It used to be called Fast Pass and it used to be free. Not the case anymore. There's 3 tiers. The first is still free. You get access to the tip board on that My Disney experience that we talked about earlier. Second is $15 to $40 per person per day, and that's essentially you get to skip most of the lines. Third tier is an individual lightning lane tier, and it gives you access to one of the biggest rides in every single park, and to skip that line, it is an additional fee on top of the $15 to $40 that you're already paying. So lots of info there. I kind of jumped it at you, but essentially it's going to let you skip those lines, and you're going to find it on the My Disney Experience app. We have Genie videos for every single park. We have sneaky Genie tips. We have perfect days where we use Genie. We have perfect days where we don't use Genie. We think it's valuable in some parks and not all parks. So if you're curious about that, go scour the channel. They are everywhere. There's literally any of them that you can find, but they're up there right now. All right, that's it for Hollywood Studios though, so I'm going to see you in just a second. Alrighty friends, and just like that we have made our way over to Disney's Animal Kingdom to get a little wild. So what is Disney's Animal Kingdom? Disney's Animal Kingdom is where you can finally let your hair down, get a little wild, and get loose, where you're gonna find some amazing rides, entertainment, food, and even some live animals. And no, it's not a zoo. Animal Kingdom is where you can expect to find a lot of nods to things like The Lion King, Avatar Flight of Passage, Dinosaur, and lots of really fun and exciting things where you get to kind of connect with nature and learn a lot while you're here. Now, as always, we are going to be starting with those rides that you need to know about. So let's head over into the Valley of Moana. So we have made our way into the Valley of Moana on Pandora to check out Disney's biggest ride in Animal Kingdom, and that is definitely Flight of Passage. Flight of Passage is a really incredible flight simulation experience where you get to sit on a motorbike kind of vehicle and ride on a Banshee with the Na'vi. It is incredible, it's breathtaking, you have some 3D glasses, and I don't think I can really do it justice just by talking about it, but you need to know about this one. This is truly my favorite ride, I'd say. Top 2 at least in Animal Kingdom, and it is by far the most popular. Right now it's a 110-minute wait, and I think you need to know about it because it is worth the hype. The graphics are amazing, the technology is amazing, the smells, everything about it. Like the first time I rode this, I cried. It is so good, it's so neat, and you don't even have to see the Avatar movies to really understand it. This ride is what made me watch Avatar and fall in love with those movies, and I had never even seen it before I rode this. I think you have to try it, it's a must-do, and you do need to know about it. But it's not the only ride you need to know about, so let's keep walking. So Kilimanjaro Safaris is a literal safari that takes you into different places all around Africa that frankly is incredible. You get to see real wildlife, you get to learn, you get to grow, you get to see, and you get to learn about conservation. I think it is so special, and I think it's something you really need to know about because frankly, there's never, most likely in my life, gonna be a chance when I get to go on a real African safari. But you know where I can come? Animal Kingdom, and have a really cool, educational, neat experience that puts me in situations that I probably never would be in again outside of that. When am I ever gonna be that close to those animals or have like a front row seat to seeing that wildlife? It's so amazing. I really can't recommend it more, and that is like the heart of Animal Kingdom. It's honestly what Walt Disney wanted to do with Jungle Cruise. He wanted it to be real animals. So I also think that it's really special for that and that you need to know about it. Now, when I said Flight of Passage was tied for my top 2, it's because it was tied here with Expedition Everest. Expedition Everest is a roller coaster that takes you up the mountain, not Everest actually, surprisingly, takes you up a massive mountain where you might find a Yeti inside. It's so exciting, and a little bit of a spoiler, it does go backwards. Now, Everest is incredible, it's so exciting, and I think you need to know about it because it's perfect for those older kiddos who maybe need a little bit of something more exciting in their Disney day, especially teenagers. I get it, but it is my favorite, and I highly, highly recommend, but be warned, it can be pretty scary, and that Yeti in there, she's not playing. Betty the Yeti, she's no joke. Do you hear those people screaming? It's that serious. Now, for all of our thrill-seeking friends, if Expedition Everest wasn't enough for you, we are going to check out Dinosaur. Now, if you haven't ever been on it, Dinosaur is an experience. It's an indoor dark ride that takes you back to the age of the dinosaurs in a time rover. You are going to rescue the iguanodon, but things get a little crazy. But then Dr. Seeker says it's going to be fine, so it'll be fine, right? Right? Well, let's just say this is one of the only rides in Disney World that has a warning. Dr. Seeker lied. It was not totally fine. It was actually incredibly scary. It was so much fun, but it is so scary, and it's definitely one to be cautious of before you head on with maybe your younger kiddos, or even just people who are scared of the dark, which is a lot of people, and I get that. Now I will say one of the reasons I think you need to know about Dinosaur is, well, it's fun, but also Dinosaur sadly will be extinct soon. We don't have dates, we're not entirely sure when that's going to happen, but Disney has kind of started letting us know some of their plans for Animal Kingdom, and sadly that means Dino Land no more. So you need to know about it because this might be your last chance to hop on. Well, now that we've successfully found a Yeti, we've been on a safari, we flew on the back of a Banshee, and we did rescue a dinosaur, I think we're a little hungry, right? Time to check out some food. Now, to talk a little bit more about food and to really start that good discussion, we are starting with our favorite quick service, and we are back in Pandora to do it. So near the exit for Flight of Passage, you're gonna find Pongu Pongu, but you're also gonna find Satuli Canteen. Satuli Canteen is basically what Quincy has described as like an alien Chipotle. You get to pick your protein-based sauce and make your own bowl. Now, Satuli Canteen is one of our favorites. We catch ourselves eating here all the time. I am partial to the noodle bowls. They are delicious, but you can't go wrong here. They even have the famous cheeseburger pods, which I think kind of remind me of like Crystal's cheeseburgers, but they're really good. You can even get a kid's meal and use it as a snack if you want to. It's really great options. We highly recommend, and frankly, I think it speaks for itself when we are here all the time. If you watch an Animal Kingdom video, there's like a 75% chance that we've eaten here. Okay, now when it comes to snacks that I want to try, we definitely came over here to Mr. Kamals, because again, I didn't really need a full meal at Satuli, but I do need a snack at Mr. Kamals. Now, Mr. Kamals is right here towards the entrance of Asia, and you can actually find a few things. This is where you're gonna find the chicken dumplings and the seasoned fries, but we're here for one of those two. Okay, because I could not resist, we did have to grab some just to try them, of course. So this is the Mr. Kamals seasoned fries with a sriracha mayo here on the side, and I say enough chatting, let's just grub. And you have to get a lot of the sriracha mayo. So they used to have actually I want to say it was like a curry mustard and a chili ketchup, or maybe I've switched them, but there were two sauces it used to come with. Now it just comes with the one, and I thought I'd be really upset, like want to fight somebody. I'm actually okay with it. Now, the reason I really love these is because they are so flavorful and crispy, and you can literally see them frying them in the back. Sorry, there's like a kick in my throat. The sriracha mayo is nice and creamy, but then even does have a tiny bit of a kick, not like a real one, like a half kick, like a Disney kick, you know, Disney spice. But it's really, really good. They're just easy, they're shareable, and they're a great little snack if you're here in Animal Kingdom. In my opinion, you cannot talk about Animal Kingdom snacks without heading over here to Harambe Fruit Market to grab the most famous corn on the cob. This stuff is delicious. It is fresh corn on the cob that they literally grill in front of you with tons of butter and African spices, and oh my word. Now, this is one of the few Disney snacks that I actually don't feel guilty about eating because it's corn, it's healthy for you. It's literally a vegetable. So if you want a little indulgent but you don't want to feel too bad, this is definitely your number one. Now, Yak and Yeti restaurant, which is not the same as Yak and Yeti local foods, no, one's a quick service, we're talking about the restaurant right now, is an Asian American Chinese and seafood kind of inspired cuisine. They say that travelers can relax and replenish with a pan-Asian feast, and frankly, I think it is really a true delicious feast. Now, like I said, I think Yak and Yeti is one of those that you need to know about because it kind of feels more like a hidden gem. It's one of those that maybe you're not going to a lot or you don't hear people talk about a lot, but is really good and normally pretty easy to get reservations for. If you want to see an updated review though, just let us know in the comments and hopefully we can get that up on the channel soon. Now, you can't talk about shows in Animal Kingdom without talking about my favorite show in all of Disney World, and that is Festival of the Lion King. Festival of the Lion King is an incredible, almost immersive experience where you actually get to go in and hear live actors and performers sing your favorite songs from The Lion King. You might even see Timon and Pumbaa and Simba, but I don't want to give too much away. Now, Festival of the Lion King is so amazing. It makes me cry almost every single time. No, I think you absolutely need to know about this show because it tugs on the heartstrings. It's incredible. The performers are amazing. The animatronics are really cool, and even just seeing Timon dance around the gym, like the gymnast monkeys, everything. It's my favorite. The elements that really tie into the show just make it so incredible and so special. I think live entertainment is important. You can't say it enough. And frankly, if you like The Lion King, you have to see it, no question. Now, if we did not get in enough singing and dancing for you over at Festival of the Lion King, we are going to check out Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond. Now, Finding Nemo, the Big Blue and Beyond is right here towards the exit of Expedition Everest, and frankly, this is a good one. It tells the story of Nemo in a quick, cute 25-minute experience where you see amazing actors, singers, and dancers, and some really cool puppets. Now, I think you need to know about Finding Nemo because frankly, it's just good. It's exciting, it's fun, and it's nostalgic because if you're anything like me, you grew up with Finding Nemo, and it's kind of a core tenet of your personality. Plus, if you guys remember that meme where the kid was like, "That's my dad," that one, the really bad singing that I just did, the kid was much better in the viral meme. Well, it's from this, and I think that everyone should experience that. Feathered Friends in Flight is the most incredible show. This is where trainers who work for Disney come out and they show you different things that they have taught the birds that live here in Animal Kingdom. You learn a lot, you see a lot, and honestly, it is really funny. I think that you need to know about this one because it is incredible, it's underrated, and I think it really, kind of like Kilimanjaro Safaris, embodies Animal Kingdom, teaching animals, learning, loving, and laughing, and having fun while you're doing it. So it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You need to know about it. Now, we have talked about some incredible things that you can find and that you need to know about here in Animal Kingdom, but frankly, the one thing we haven't touched on yet is that you need to know about the incredible nature trails all throughout the theme park. They really make Animal Kingdom what it is, and if you don't do those trails, you are missing out on an integral part of the experience. You get so up close with so many animals, and frankly, you won't get to see the gorillas, and that in itself is a crime. So if you haven't done that, you need to make sure that you are checking out all of the nature trails throughout Animal Kingdom. Another one of those things that you also might need to know in every park is about Disney's Photo Pass service. Now, Disney's Photo Pass service is where Disney has cast members throughout all of the Disney parks and even Disney Springs to take you and your family's photos. Of course, you can buy packages through Disney World, or you can even buy one if you want. But frankly, Photo Pass is such an incredible tool if you're here on your family vacation. Now, the reason I tend to love PhotoPass so much is because a lot of times moms and dads don't always get to be in the picture together, or sometimes you only have tight selfies so you can't really see everything. Now, I know as a kid I loved having those PhotoPass pictures because it's my whole family and you can really see and do everything all together. This is something you should definitely look into if you want to, because frankly it's just a great memory maker, which coincidentally is the name of the package. And to wrap up the last of our 4 parks, we have finally made our way over to Epcot. So what is Epcot? Epcot stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, and this was one of Walt Disney's personal dreams. Now, this is the place where you're going to be able to go from country to country, traveling around the world, while you learn a lot of things about the future and even discover some things about the world. Discover nature. Lots of stuff to see, lots of places to be, and we're traveling around the world, so we better get started. So when it comes to what you can expect around Epcot, you can find some of the most exciting rides in all of Disney World, as well as some of the best food. Those are the 2 things that you're really going to note here, but that second one, that one's going to be really important. Now, one thing to note about Epcot is actually kind of broken up into different sections. So rather than having their kind of lands, they have different worlds here. So you're going to find World Celebration, World Nature, World Showcase, and World Discovery. Now, starting off with rides in Epcot, you cannot talk about rides in Disney World, let alone Epcot, without talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. So on Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, you are going to sit in a spaceship with the Guardians of the Galaxy, where they're going to shoot you backwards as you hope to save the world. Now, this is one of my favorites. You can get any one of 5 songs. It's always random and you never know which one you're gonna get. Fingers crossed, because my personal favorite is September. But if you did not know, you actually can only ride this ride one of 2 ways. 1, by purchasing an individual lightning lane, or 2, by actually getting onto a virtual queue, much like Tron over in Magic Kingdom. This one is so exciting, so fast-paced. However, it definitely can have some issues with motion sickness, so kind of be aware of that before you hop on, but this is the #1 must-do in all of Epcot for me, so we had to start here. Now, the next thing that you absolutely need to know about here in Epcot is going to be Test Track, which is also still over here in World Discovery. Test Track, which is presented by Chevrolet, is a ride where you get to go in and design your own car and then put it to the test. Whoever's in the vehicle with you, you guys are racing to see who could make the best car ever, and this one gets pretty intense. It's exciting, it's thrilling, it's fast-paced, and it's about to go under a new reimagining, as Disney calls it. They're gonna retheme it, give us a little bit of TLC, 1011 care, and it's gonna be really exciting. So if you're here before they do that, you need to ride it because it'll be your last chance to do it when it looks like this. And if you're here after they fixed it, which we don't quite know when they're gonna start work on it, but if you're here after that, then you have to because it's brand new. So either way, you gotta do it. This is one of those that you absolutely need to know about. And we've made our way over to Norway to talk about one of my other favorite rides that I've actually gotten to ride in 2 countries, which is just really cool, and I can't believe that I get to say that, Frozen Ever After. So Frozen Ever After is a really fun boat ride where you actually get to step into the story of Frozen. It happens right after the first movie. You're heading up to Elsa's Ice Palace for a fun celebration, and you're gonna see all of your favorite characters like Olaf and Sven and Elsa and Anna. I know personally I sing along the entire time because it's just, Frozen's a classic. Frozen is one of my favorite movies of all time, and frankly, it's just a good ride too. So if you're somebody who loves it and you have a strong affection for the movie, you must know about this one. But also, it's just a good classic ride. The technology is pretty cool, and I'll spoil it a little bit. There's a fun drop at the end, so it's really, really cute, and I think you need to know about it. So in the very back of the France Pavilion is where you're going to find Remys Ratatouille Adventure. And you're gonna find a lot of stuff back here. There's some amazing food. The best quick service, I think, in all of Epcot is L'Oreal back here in the back as well. But the thing that you need to know about is Remys Ratatouille Adventure. So in Remys Ratatouille Adventure, you're actually going to shrink down to the size of a rat, and you're gonna go on some crazy adventures with Remy. Now this one is so neat. The smells, the sights, and it's trackless, so the technology is really, really neat. It's just a lot of fun. Now I will say this one can get some pretty high wait times, so if you're using Genie Plus, maybe consider putting this towards the top of your list. But I absolutely think you need to know about it. It's one of the ones that you actually can find over in Disneyland Paris, and so having it here is just one of those exciting things that you might never get to do because you might never go to Paris, but you can come to Orlando and you can do it here. Now for the last ride that I think you need to know about, we've made our way inside the Land Pavilion over here in World Nature, and we're gonna talk about one of my personal favorites, Saurin. So all the way downstairs is where you are gonna find Saurin. Saurin is a super fun, high-flying adventure that takes you either around the world or over California. Right now it is Saurin over California, which is personally one of my favorites, but eventually it will return to Saurin around the world. Both are incredible, and both are things that you absolutely need to know about. I think you need to know about it because it's a Disney classic, and it's exciting, and it's one of those things that you have core memories, and I think that's probably because of the smells. But I know that I have candles in my house that's like the Fiji water from Saurin, and you just close your eyes and it's just, you're a kid again, and you're like, I want to cry. It's just so sweet, and I think it holds a lot of nostalgia for people. And even though we have newer rides like Flight of Passage that are kind of like a scaled up version of Saurin, I still love Saurin, and I think that everyone should experience it at least once in their lives. So now that we've talked about all those rides that I think that you need to know about, I want to get into my favorite thing, which is the food that you need to know about. And Epcot's kind of famous for food, so this one might be a little broad, but in a good way. So if you're eating in Epcot, you absolutely need to know about Epcot festivals. They are going on almost all year round. There are very few weeks where there isn't a festival happening. And if you're here during a festival, that's the food that you need to know about. Well, of course, we are here during a festival, so I'm gonna hop in line, we're gonna grab some food, and we're gonna talk about a few of my favorites. Okay, so I stopped by Pop Eats today, and I did grab the tomato soup with pimento cheese, bacon, and a fried green tomato grilled cheese, and oh my goodness, I can't wait to dig in. Okay, it's actually a little bit chilly today. It's like in the 40s/50s, so thrilled to get some tomato soup.
They sent that for like the first, I think, like year or so, and I was good.
Taste the bills. That is so seasonal.
That's one of my favorite items that you can grab right now. I'm filming at the time of Festival of the Arts, which is actually one of my favorites, but you can get any incredible festival food any time of the year. I think that festival food is the best food in Epcot because it's small plates, you can eat a lot without kind of feeling too gross, you can try a lot of things, and there's so much variety as you travel throughout the World Showcase and just the festivals in general. Now, if you are curious, we have a full festival video for every single festival up on the channel right now, and they always come out within 2 or 3 days of the brand new festival starting. So if you're about to take a trip and you're not quite sure what you want, make sure to check out those videos. And I think you need to know about the festival booths because I would hate for you to miss it on your trip to Epcot, especially because it is like an integral part of Epcot. But it's not the only good food, so let's head into the World Showcase and talk about some of the other staples that you can find year-round. So here at Caramel Kusha, this is a handcrafted caramel treat stop hosted by Werther's Original Caramel, and frankly, this is an Epcot need to know. You're gonna find some amazing things here like the caramel popcorn, the caramel butter bars, even just some incredible caramel fudge. I mean, there's so many exciting things. Now, I am normally not one to super indulge in things that I think you could probably get elsewhere outside of Disney World, but I don't think you can. Not anything that's this good and not anything that is this tasty, in my opinion. I have a lot of family members and we do love this place. I literally have a cousin who she will come to Epcot just to get the popcorn and then she'll leave. Like, that's why she's here, is just for this popcorn. It is so good, it's so savory, and if you want to see more of kind of a tasting of it, you can go check out my entire Epcot food tour where we actually break down a ton of stuff, and I probably have already mentioned it at this point, but where we break down a ton of good stuff, especially a lot of items from here. Now for our next food spot, we're gonna be a little bit more specific. We're not gonna be so broad, and we're gonna take you inside the Mexico Pavilion to check out Laava Del Tequila. So here inside the Mexico Pavilion is where you can find the amazing Laava Del Tequila. So this is actually a bar and kind of lounge here inside the Mexico Pavilion where you can find some amazing handcrafted margaritas and a few even designed by some celebrities like Lily Aldridge and Neil Patrick Harris, and even grab a few delicious bites. Now, Laava is not quite open at the time of filming because it's not 11 yet. That's right, 11 is the time where a lot of things are opening, just like those festival booths. That's when you can find Laava Del Tequila open as well, and a lot of people start lining up even earlier than that because the line can get pretty long. Now, there is some indoor seating for Laava, although it is first come, first serve, and there's not a ton of it. So if you're looking to grab those bites, make sure to tell one of the cast members and get in the right line, not just the walk-up line. But if you just want a good margarita, hop in that walk-up line, and I promise it might be a little bit of a wait, but it'll totally be worth it. You really need to know about this one. And while you're in here, you should definitely check out all of the incredible shopping as well as Grand Fiesta Tour. It's one of my favorite rides. I wouldn't necessarily even say it's a must-do if you're in a time crunch, but if you've got some free time and you're in here for a marg, you might as well go hang out with Donald, Jose, and Panchito. We are going to talk all about the shows here, and I think you have to start with the brand new show, Luminous, the Symphony of Us, when you're going to talk about Epcot. Now, Luminous, the Symphony of Us is a brand new nighttime show that just started here in Epcot, and it takes place over the World Showcase Lagoon at night, and I think it's beautiful, I won't lie to you. So Disney describes this as a really dramatic show where you get to see a dazzling pageant of fireworks, fountains, music, and lights to an original composition. It's new music and some kind of familiar Disney songs that you're going to hear along the way. And it just talks about how we can all come together to remind us that we are all more alike than we are different. And I think that that's really beautiful, and I think that that symbolizes everything that Epcot is about. It's one of those that if you're here at night, absolutely, you need to know about it. Now, Disney does not do big nighttime spectacular shows in every single park. Sadly, Animal Kingdom does not always have one, but if you're here during that time period, you have to. Disney is known for their live entertainment and their nighttime shows, and this is no exception. Now, we did start with the nighttime show, but there is a lot of entertainment that you can check out before the nighttime show begins, and that's going to be a lot of the live entertainment that is scattered throughout all of Epcot. Things like Mariachi Cobre or even Voices of Liberty, plus different festivals will have different offerings that are just so incredible. The Candlelight Processional during Festival of the Holidays, and it's just really heartwarming, and I think really kind of tugs on the heartstrings in the sense that music is what brings us all together. Live entertainment is really the thing that makes you feel that human emotion and connects us all the way that Luminous is trying to do. We are all the same, and that is what connects us, and it's so beautiful. It doesn't matter which one you choose, you need to see at least one of the live entertainment performers. I'm always going to recommend Mariachi Cobre because they are my personal favorites, but you can't go wrong with any of them. Now, for one of the last things that I think you need to know about when it comes to live entertainment or just entertainment in general here in Epcot, we're going to talk about the Beauty and the Beast Sing-Along. Now, the Beauty and the Beast Sing-Along is a show that continuously runs throughout the day, and you actually get to kind of go in, you get to sing along, of course, but the twist is that it's told from a different perspective. You actually hear from LeFou's perspective, which is pretty different, and I think adds a really cute twist onto the entire show. Now, the reason I think you need to know about it is because I think this is one of those kind of hidden gems in Disney World. Not a lot of people know about it. It's not super popular. And frankly, if you don't love Beauty and the Beast, I could get why you skip it. But I think this is a great place. It's in the back of the France Pavilion. You can get out of the heat or even just take a seat for a little while. And now, one thing that I think you absolutely need to know about, and the last thing that we're really going to talk about here in Epcot, is that you need to know to explore. Now, Epcot is a little bit different than Magic Kingdom or other places because there is so many little things in the pavilions scattered throughout Epcot that isn't necessarily a ride. It's not necessarily a show, but it is definitely worth your time. So just taking the time to explore the World Showcase, open yourself up to new ideas, and being ready to learn a little bit, which you can kind of count that as like a school trip. Might as well come to Disney, learn a little bit, and then you can take some time off of school and you feel fine about it. It's a lot of fun, and I think that is what sets the Disney theme parks apart from any other theme park that you're gonna go to, is how intentional and special and just informative that they are. Even when you're having fun, it's always good to learn something new, and Epcot is the embodiment of that. Alrighty friends, so that is it. Now, did we touch on everything in Disney World today? No way. There is so much to do and see, but these are just some of the highlights, and we think that you need to know about them. Now, I hope that we made Miss Stacy from Must Do Disney proud. These are kind of our versions of that. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. Now go check out all of the problems you're gonna find in Disney World in 2024. I'll see you over there, okay?